I've bounced the idea around once or twice, mainly as a way of getting Dooley set free. God knows Sentius is never going to do it. But from what I hear, Malleolus has the election stitched up. Nobody's going to take him on and win. And maybe that's not such a bad thing. I mean, he talks a lot about freedom, so I'm hoping if he's elected, he'll release Dooley from his cell. And that's good enough for me. And how could you know that? I mean, I don't like the man, but I don't see how you could know a thing like that. Well, in that case, we need to find a way to make sure Malleolus loses. Better yet, get him to withdraw altogether. If you can do that, and Sentius is the only candidate left, I'll run against him. Deal? All right. See you around.
The 49 melodies fetched.
Such a bright light. Apollo is powerful here, is he not?
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
We must get to the shrine.
many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Out of my way! Out of my way!
Salve, friend. Mind telling me who you are and what you're doing with that bow on your back? I don't think so. I've never seen you before in my life. Oh, Bacchus, how much did I drink last night? Sorry to have bothered you. Oh, and since you seem to be in a hurry, you should try out this device I made. Worked real hard on it. Just attach the pulley to the rope over the lake and hang on to the handles. If it works, it'll be faster than walking. And if it doesn't work, worst thing that can happen is you'll take a swim in the lake. I haven't quite summoned the courage to test it myself. But don't worry, it's completely safe. Probably. All right, see you around.
What are you doing in here? Can't you see this woman is dying? She's been poisoned. She needs the resin of a plant called silphium, but that Culus cumbulatus decius won't give it to me. What? Quick, give it here. Yulia, you need to swallow this. Here, let me help you. Hopefully, in a moment, she should be able to breathe normally. That was extraordinary. How did you know she needed this exact thing, and at this exact moment? Are you some kind of oracle? Look, if you don't want to tell me, I won't look a gift horse in the mouth. But no matter. That was like the gods hearing my prayers and intervening. You just saved a person's life, and you should be proud of yourself. She might even be able to thank you herself in a few moments. And maybe she can tell us who poisoned her, and who she meant when she was muttering about that snake's cruel black eyes. In the meantime, I'm happy to help you with whatever it is you need. Sure. What do you want to... Do you really want to know? I mean, if somebody poisoned her, then surely they would have broken the golden rule, and... So... Glad... That's a...
Oh, it's you. Sorry, I'm still a bit out of it. But thanks for trying to help me, I suppose. Was there something you wanted? Lucretia says I'm supposed to rest. As much as I'm grateful that you tried to help me, it's just not safe for me to talk. The golden rule. That's the least of my worries. Please, just... Thank you. You mean my life story? Oh, well... I grew up as part of a big family in Rome. Me and 3 older sisters. Our father found good husbands for my sisters, but I wasn't, cut out for that kind of life. So he found me a job as a scribe for a prominent merchant. It was a good life for a while. Until 7 months ago when the fires came. My colleagues and I worked desperately to try to protect our warehouse. We must have had 100 workers passing buckets of water, chanting prayers to Vulcan, but they fell on deaf ears. The fire was relentless, and it claimed everything. And everyone. Well, almost everyone. My employer told me to grab what valuables I could and flee for the Tiber, with the crowds. I remember diving into the river and then... Thank you, but to be honest... All right. I'd been here about a week, when it dawned on me I'd be trapped here for the rest of my life. I could hardly breathe, and I knew I had to get out somehow. So when my new friend Aurelia offered me a secret way out, I would have done anything. And then I learned her asking price. 1,000 denarii. She was supposed to be my friend. I told her it would take me years to save up that much. So she suggested I take out a loan from Malleolus. And I did. I had to sign an agreement, saying I'd work off the debt over 30 years. But I figured I'd be out of here so soon it wouldn't matter. I paid Aurelia, and she gave me her so-called way out. Do you want to know what it was? You figured it out already. I wish I'd been so astute. Drink this, she said, and you'll be out of here in no time. Of course, I demanded my money back, but she refused. She pointed to a sign on her tavern saying, "Let the buyer beware." Then she just looked at me with those cruel black eyes, and she laughed. She immediately told Malleolus I'd tried to escape without paying him back. Only, he didn't seem upset or surprised at all. In fact, he just thanked her. And that's when I realized the two of them had planned the whole thing from the beginning. Of course. I went to Sentius and begged for help, but he said the law was clear. I'd signed over my labor for 30 years and there was nothing he could do. I thought about resisting too. But Malleolus said if I didn't submit, I'd break the golden rule. And I couldn't be responsible for all those deaths, so he locked me in his villa. Confiscated everything I owned as collateral, and made me wear immodest, humiliating outfits while I worked day in, day out. His wife Claudia was just as bad. She sent me to work on an endless stream of futile, demeaning tasks. I'd be on my hands and knees, scrubbing the floor clean for hours, only for her to pour slop on it and hiss, "You missed a spot." Those two took everything from me. But they forgot to confiscate one thing. My hemlock. I just wanted it to be over. But it seems I messed that up too. Should have drunk all of it. I brought it on myself. I trusted one of the most callous human beings I've ever met, and tried to swindle the other. I don't know how I could have been so stupid. When I've recovered, I expect their thug Domitius will come for me. He'll escort me back to their villa, and I'll be right back where I started. Only this time, I won't be able to lull myself to sleep at night with the thought of a permanent solution. Honestly, it would have been better if the poison had been allowed to run its course. I doubt it. It seems this is the fate the gods have chosen for me, for trying to escape. At least until someone breaks the golden rule. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad. A lot. But it doesn't matter. I made a suicide pact with Ulpius last night. He's in exactly the same position as I am. Malleolus and Aurelius set the same trap for him a month after they did it to me. He and I are in this together. He's probably already thrown himself from the bluff into Malleolus's villa by now. If so, I'd never be able to live with myself, knowing I broke my promise to him. I doubt you could make it up to the bluff in time. I don't know who you are, or why you seem so determined to help me.
May Apollo keep you safe.
Salve, Fred. Welcome. All right, well, it was lovely to meet you.
I can't believe this is how it ends.
Oh, no. No. No, 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 no. Ulpius, what are you doing? Get back from there.
That's the...
What?
Why do you...
I know. Please,
I'm sorry.
please, help him. Thank...
You know about that? How is that possible? I mean, I've never mentioned it to anyone. Well, if you say so. You don't understand. I don't want to hurt anyone. I just want it all to be over. It's too late for that. Yulia and I made a pact. And she's already swallowed hemlock this morning. If I backed out now, I'd be betraying her. I can't do that. Oh, really? That changes things a little. But we're still in debt bondage to that monster. Unless you happen to have 2,000 denarii to pay off both of our debts. Really? Wait. So, I guess you'd want me to work for you then. You'd do that for us? A couple of complete strangers. It seems today we're both blessed. This did not turn out how I thought. Thank you, friend. I never thought people like you existed. Thank you. I'll go and pay off our debts immediately. I just wish there was some way I could repay you. But I have nothing but the tunic on my back. I'll go and take care of things with Malleolus and tell Yulia the good news. Thanks again, friend. I'll never forget what you did for us.
May Apollo keep you safe. Feeling all right? You made it
Yulia.
into the palace. I'm
so glad you
impressed.
didn't go through with it.
How is
It
Nevia?
wasn't for lack of trying. And now
Oh, I
Malleolus
see.
is going to.
Well, what's the treatment?
Why do you look so happy?
Willow back.
We're
I
free.
should have known. It was under my
Malleolus
nose
just
the whole
released us
time.
and we never have to
That's
set
very
foot in that
helpful.
villa
Thank you.
again.
If this works, it should settle Rufius down
The
some.
newcomer arranged it
I have
somehow.
some right here.
Really?
Could you do me a favor and give him some of this? He'll just need to swallow a pinch of it. I'm hoping it will avert disaster.
I don't know what to say.
You don't need to say anything. Just rest up. Get your strength back.
Thank you.
We'll
I'm
celebrate
really glad you
properly when
arrived
you're
when you
ready.
did.
I will.
That's a
Thank you,
shame.
Orpheus.
Thanks again
I
for
will.
saving Yulia's life.
Name's Rufius. Better watch your step. What business is that of yours? Willow bark. And this will work? Oh, thank God. Finally, some relief. This is what I've been praying for. Maybe God hasn't abandoned me after all. Thank you. I've been in a lot of pain lately. The rheumatism, these cursed statues always watching, and the crisis of faith. It was too much. Started messing with my head. This is exactly what I needed to set it straight again. I owe you one. No idea what you're talking about? Look, I haven't been at my best lately. I know that. It's the rheumatism. It starts with constant pain in all your joints. Then the pain starts to mess with your head. Makes you angry, mean. I know that's not an excuse for how I acted. But it's the truth. But with the willow bark, I'm already starting to feel like myself again. And I know I said I owe you one. So I'll leave him alone from now on. It's not as if I was ever going to hurt him anyway. I was just lashing out. I'm going to go and clean up the graffiti. Just forget this ever happened, will you?
Ah, a new face. I hear. What demon or spirit? You went snooping in his place? Have you really? Ah, poor fellow. I've heard that can really mess with a... Really? That... Nice to talk to you.
What? All right,
Stop right there. I'm looking. Thank you for your service.
Filthy, lying degenerate.
You there. You've given me the hint, but my... I'm more of an ideas man. When Prometheus stole fire from the... So... Now I've got... It's just at the...
the 49 melodies fetch again, with incessant labor, the one they have lost. Ixion turns.
Thank you. Thank you. I am delighted and...
Domitius doesn't usually let anyone in here without a hefty tribute, so you must have been desperate to see me. Well, what do you want? My name is Marcus Malleolus Gurgis. You seem to have confused me with someone else. You mean my heterochromia? I am guilty of nothing more than having different colored eyes. And I'm hardly the only person with the condition. Alexander the Great had it too, as it happens. I like to think it is simply the way the gods have chosen to mark a natural-born ruler. Nothing more. Unlikely, because it simply isn't true. Now, was there something else you wanted? I trust you can see yourself.
You're not supposed to be in here. Talk. What business could you possibly have with me? My marital affairs are no concern of yours. Thank you very much. An intriguing proposition. Go on. Perhaps you're not as silly as those clothes make you look. What makes you say that? You know, I may have the very thing you're looking for. Some time ago, when he still cared for me, he wrote me a love letter. Only, he used the wrong name. Now, addressing one's wife by the wrong name is not unheard of among philandering Romans. But in this case, the name he got wrong was his own. I confronted him about it, and he stammered through some incoherent response. I let it go, eventually, and yet questions have lingered in the back of my mind ever since. But wait a minute. Why exactly are you helping me? Oh, aren't you charming? I'm quite sure my husband would seethe with impotent rage if he overheard you say that. I love it. It seems our interests are aligned. I imagine knowing his true identity will give me the leverage I need to manage him appropriately. But first, I need you to do something for me. I want you to bring me some wine. Just one small urn should do it. Oh, don't look at me like that. I know this must be hard for you to wrap your sweet little pleb head around. So what do you need me to spell out? So you'll help me? Thank you. Here's the letter. Now, perhaps you can tell me who Quinctius really is. What? He's... Oh no. That's... quite a lot more serious than I imagined. I only wanted some leverage over him, not to destroy him. Give me that immediately. Nobody else must know. What? No. You tricked me. It was a lie of a mission. I curse. This is outrageous.
You again. What is it now? Are you insane? You barge into my villa uninvited and then make outrageous demands? Why would I withdraw from an election I'm bound to win? So, it finally caught up with me. I suppose that makes you, what, one of Nero's assassins? So, you're not going to kill me? So much work for nothing. Ugh. If I do it, you'll let me live? Fine. Ruling this cesspit of a city would have been beneath me anyway. I'll have Domitius notify the priestess of my withdrawal. There. You got what you wanted. Now, please, leave my villa and never speak to me again.
Fear is proof of a degenerate mind. On your best behavior, I trust?
Priestess, Malleolus has decided to withdraw from the election.
Oh, well, that's surprising. But thank you for telling me. I'll let everyone know.
Fear is proof of a degenerate mind.
Citizens, I have an announcement. Malleolus has withdrawn his candidacy from today's election. Unless any new challengers are nominated by nightfall, Sentius will be re-elected magistrate by default. That is all. A new face, Ave, and may Vesta watch over. Interesting. I'm not sure why you're... Yes, I suppose that could be something. But then most of us do tend to carry coins on our person, don't we? What else? Yes, I understand many of our friends were carried here by a river current. What else? That's true. I know I wasn't entirely sure how I wound up here. It's as I feared. I think I understand what poor Livia has been going through. Let me ask you this. Did you happen to encounter a stranger in the forest before you arrived here? And did you happen to catch her name? I see. And was this Karen by any chance wearing a hood? Because I've seen her before. There's something I think you should see. I think you'd better follow me to the baths. But don't follow too closely. We can't have people thinking we're bathing together. All right, you're here. You were asking how I knew the young woman you met by the river was wearing a hood. Here, look down at the bottom of the baths. It's a little hard to make out in this light. If only we could see. Oh, what a marvelous lamp. But do you see it? Somebody waking up by a river in a forest to find a hooded figure with a coin. It's just as you described it, only your pronunciation is a little off. The name you heard wasn't Karen. It was C-H-A-R-O-N, as in Charon, the ferryman of the dead. Charon, who, in exchange for the right coin, helps the souls of the newly deceased cross the Styx, the river that separates the land of the living from the land of the dead.
When I dragged you out of the river, I thought you were never gonna wake up. I checked your pockets for ID, but all I found was some loose change. Feels like I've spent my whole life in a dead-end job with an endless commute. Sorry if I sounded cagey, it's just that I don't always get the best reactions when I introduce myself. My name's Karen.
I'm so sorry, my friend. I'm so sorry. I take it you know what this means. I'm afraid so. It's all starting to make sense. All these people whose last memory was running from the fires toward the river. It seems none of them escaped with their lives after all. Perhaps we should be grateful they don't remember their final moments. It also tells us that the Golden Rule is the work of Pluto, the god of the underworld, and why his epithet has always been Father of Riches. I know it's a lot to take in, and you look as if you have questions, so I'll try to answer them if I can. That was my first thought too. In the old stories, the underworld was where the souls of the deceased were taken. But it was also possible for the living to reach it without dying, if they were particularly fearless. So I'm afraid I don't know. Good question. Let's see. In the stories, Charon would always require a coin as payment for passage across the river. But that never made any sense to me. What does an ancient immortal being need with coins? In our case, it seems Charon didn't take the coins we had. He or she merely checked we had one in our possession. So, maybe there's something special about the coins each of us had on us. That might explain why we wound up here, but so many others did not. Now that we know where we are, we have to figure out what to do about it, if we don't want to be cast into gold for eternity. We don't have much to go on, except the old stories. I remember 4 in particular about heroes in the underworld. Hercules, the demigod and son of Jupiter. Orpheus, a Thracian poet. Sisyphus, a king of Ephyra, and Aeneas, a Trojan hero. Hercules was able to leave the underworld because he cowed its god with his strength. Sisyphus and Orpheus both relied on their wits instead. They persuaded the goddess of the underworld, Proserpina, to help them escape. And finally, Aeneas was able to escape with the help of a spirit guide, who led him through a secret gate. So it seems you have 2 options: to confront the god of the underworld head-on, or find a way to escape with the help of Proserpina or some other guide. All Romans try to avoid saying it, and the reason is quite simple. He might hear us. You may refer to him as Pluto, if you wish, but you'll only be calling attention to yourself. Do so at your own peril. It's a reasonable question, but the problem is, and even if you could build a ladder big enough, just trying it would break the Golden Rule. We know that, Shh! It's everyone's... That option would be the boldest, but also, as I said, Hercules managed to overpower the god of the underworld. I'll admit, You do seem different to anyone I've ever met. And even that lamp of you. So, if you want to, who knows? Perhaps your name, but first, you'd need an audience with you-know-who. The problem is, the door has been sealed shut for as long as I've lived here, and there does. I suspect the answer lies in the desecrated obelisk in front of it. I'm not sure if you noticed. It looks as though somebody, or a series of somebodies, forcibly removed them. If you could recover and replace all four of... It's the towering stone monument with four sides and a pyramid-shaped head that stands before the great temple, a dedication to the god of this. You'll find them all over Rome. But of course they were looted from Egypt many years ago. It seems one of them made its way here too, although how is a mystery. However, this one is unusual in that each of the four sides is decorated in a different style. Roman, Greek, Egyptian. That means you'll need to recover four different... I'm afraid you're on your own with that one. I don't know. But perhaps you Perhaps Kabash, our Egyptian resident, will be able to tell. But I did hear Aurelia is peddling rumors about him at the tavern. Good question. To answer that, it would have had the god's name engraved into it. So, and there's only one group of people There's a cult in Rome that often argue they've been known to start fires, as well as deface religious... If I were you, I'd go looking for them. But I did hear a rumor they have a secret shrine. As I mentioned, both Orpheus and Sisyphus were said to have persuaded. The problem is, those are the stories of a poet, a self-aggrandizing king, and a brawler about their first Proserpina. What it said, the god of the underworld abducted and dragged her here against her will, forcing her into marriage. If the stories are true, the problem is, how do we leaving that aside for a moment, there is also the Truly? And you're only... Then again, I suppose you were worried I'd think you were as mad as Navia. Can you tell me more? Fascinating. Perhaps she is a benevolent spirit. If she has indeed been abducted, it would make sense for her to speak. Tell me, has she told you anything that might... Oh, I see. All right. I would suggest not discussing this with anyone. The best we can do for them is